Welcome to The Abundance Journey, the show that helps spiritual entrepreneurs create an abundance mindset that accelerates revenue. Here's your host, the Abundance Ambassador, Elaine Starling.
Hey, are you driven to succeed? Do you love what you do so much that you feel compelled to do it no matter what? Well, if so, you are going to love today's guest. Jim Sabellico has been an entrepreneur since age 8, and he never looked back. He's the author of The Complete Guide to Building an 8-Figure Website, a partner in a sushi restaurant, the owner of multiple software companies, and the founder of a thriving digital agency that helps people start and scale their businesses to fulfill their life's purpose. Well, on the surface, Jim had it all: multi-million-dollar businesses, financial success, the kind of career most people can only dream of. But one day, everything changed. Jim nearly missed his son's 6th birthday because he was too busy working. Yeah, standing there singing happy birthday over a half-eaten cake, Jim had a gut-wrenching realization. He built external success, but at the cost of his health, his marriage, and his relationship with his kids. That moment changed everything. Jim made a bold decision to redefine real success, not just wealth in business, but true wealth in relationships, in health, and in purpose. Now, Jim's on a mission to help others find their breakthrough, to empower people to follow their heart, trust their vision, and go after their dreams, no matter how impossible they might seem. Because as Jim believes, a rising tide lifts all boats. Jim, I am so delighted to have you on the Abundance Journey. I adored being on your show. I love where you're coming from. That mix of passion and compassion with business sense and logic is just, it's unbeatable. Welcome.
Thank you. It's truly an honor to be here. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the gracious intro.
Man, you are just a wealth of knowledge. I'm so delighted that we can be here and learn from you. And I'm going to be taking a ton of notes. But before we jump into it, I do have several questions for you. I want to make sure that we connect our energy, yours, mine, with the entire audience, as well as with the God of our understanding. So we're going to do 2 things together. First, we're going to take 3 long, slow, deep breaths. And as we breathe in through the nose, we'll think the words, I am. And as we breathe out through the mouth, think the word consciousness. And at the end of that, I'm going to share an intention. Our intention is what we want to create together and how we choose to feel about it. And this is really kind of like typing into a spiritual GPS. Here's where we want to go. And it's not like we have a script. You know, I've got some idea of questions I want to ask you, but new things will come to mind. And we're guided exactly where we want to go through this intention. Now, we're going to hold the intention in silence for 78 seconds, and that can be a real challenge for people. Life is so busy and we're so distracted. Currently, the research shows we have a shorter attention span than a goldfish, and a goldfish starts life brand new every 8 seconds. Every 8 seconds, like clockwork, brand new. So 2 things I've discovered that really help me hold the course for 78 seconds. The first one is I'll pick 2 or 3 words out of the intention that just feel expansive and uplifting and empowering. It's that higher vibration that I really want to own. So I'll repeat those 2 or 3 words over and over to myself during the 78 seconds. And then the second thing I do is I pay attention to my body and what's happening in my body. Sometimes I'll feel goosebumps or a rush of heat, or, you know, my left foot might hurt and then my right elbow hurts. It doesn't matter what's happening in your body. Just notice that something is happening. And that is a sign that the God of your understanding has locked in on that higher vibration and is about to turn that into your reality. So let's get started. Let's breathe together 3 times. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. In love and light, we hold the intention that we express the divine through our skills, talents, and abilities, making a difference for others and steadily improving life for everyone as we thrive and grow. Thank you, divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. We give thanks, and so it is. Wow, there's a lot of energy around this topic. Big time. I don't know if you felt anything, but wow.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm so excited to chat with you because, I think so many people misunderstand what money's all about, and they almost feel a sense of guilt if they're trying to have a thriving business, right? If they're really trying to bring in the money and make sure that they can employ people and all of that kind of stuff. And yet, ironically, money is the energy of gratitude. You pay for things that you're grateful for. Now, you've been doing this since age 8. And obviously, you're really, really passionate about it. Why are you so committed to helping people have this breakthrough and grow thriving businesses?
I would say I think it directly relates to the pain that I felt in the moments where I realized I wasn't truly successful. And for me, it's an opportunity to now speak to my past self or to speak to anyone who is still living in that environment where they're not necessarily conscious of themselves doing it. So, I believe there's someone listening to this today who is still operating in that zone, who has not yet had that no have cake moment in their life, that needs to hear it. And for me, the opportunity to be here, I'm grateful that I woke up today, breath in my lungs, hope in my heart. There's a purpose for that. And so I'm going to continue to live out loud as much as humanly possible so that other people can hear it and have that moment for themselves.
I love that. I love what you're doing. And, I've noticed two different kinds of people, especially in the space that I'm in, this kind of spiritual space. There are people who are super dedicated to business and they are really focused on the bottom line and they're driven to succeed on that external validation level. And then there are other people who are very spiritual and they almost have a negative relationship with money and with business. And they undermine themselves all the time because they think that there's something wrong with making money. I'd love to get your perspective on how everything connects.
Well, I think there's a couple things there. One is that money is not evil. The love of money is where people really fall off. So we're not supposed to make money the idol. And that's, I think, what people really miss out on is they make money the thing that they're after rather than what they can do with it. And if we're called to glorify God in the things that we do and to serve, allowing ourselves to operate in a spot that we are able to generate and receive as much money as possible allows us to go out there and sow seed and do good with it. And we can't be good shepherds of that if we are not able to collect it ourselves first. But I think it really boils back down to the understanding of, hey, this is a tool to go out and do good with, not necessarily, the thing that I'm after. I'm not after the dollars in the bank account. I am after what I can do with it. And I think that trips up a lot of people.
I think you're absolutely on the money. And the other thing that I find very interesting, this was kind of a switch in my mind, an on to off, off to on switch for me. I had this realization that charging someone for what you do, I mean, yeah, of course we want everybody to benefit. But when you charge someone for what you do, they get to step up and show their level of commitment to themselves. They aren't necessarily going to read your free book. They're not necessarily going to come to your free summit unless they feel a compelling need and they see a real value and their level of commitment is high. It's not a commitment to you, it's a commitment to themselves.
Yeah, well, I think a big part of that too is the exchange of pain. So for most people, they're not going to change until the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of change. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of people who are early in their journey, there's a lot of pain associated with handing dollars over because you sacrificed a portion of your life for that. You worked hard for that. So when I give you $500, it causes me a lot of pain, right? And as you continue to walk down this journey, what you're going to find is a lot of people who are at the highest level of that don't necessarily need that quote unquote motivation to show up, because for them, and we're talking about people who are years down the journey, there is a lot of pain associated with staying the same on their own, right? So they don't necessarily need the monetary exchange in order to do that because they hold themselves to a higher standard. But for most people, especially people who are starting out on this journey, it's a really helpful exchange that happens when, hey, I work really hard, I sacrifice a lot to get that $500. If I spend it, now I feel like I need to get something in return that's worth more than the money that I paid out, right? That's the exchange of value thereafter.
Yeah, so true. Well, I asked this one question of all of my guests. I have never had the same answer, and I love that. Given the kind of work that you do, how would you define abundance?
I would say in freedom of time and choice. So when you're able to live a life where you wake up when you want, do what you want with who you want, where you want, you're free. And I think for most people, they don't necessarily have that. They are waking up dreadfully to an alarm clock. They are not super happy about sitting in the car and going to a long commute to work to a place that they dread, to sacrifice 8 hours of their life, to then come home, complain about it, just, get some escapism to just distract the rest of the day and then repeat it again the next day. So for me, the idea of living in abundance is really about joy. It's about the feeling of freedom and just being truly grateful for all of the things that you get to do throughout the day. So like what percentage of your day you get to operate in joy, I think is a direct relationship to that. If you can spend most of your day being joyful about the things that you do, you're in a pretty good spot.
I love that. And I got to share something with you because I started doing this several months ago, actually over a year ago now. I decided I'm not going to work anymore, quote, work, unquote, because every time I think of the word work, it feels heavy. It feels difficult. It feels like I have to, and it feels like I have to, like I have to figure it all out, right? I have to do the work. And I thought, that just sucks. I'm going to play, because when I play, I get to, and it's fun, and I could play with other people. And it was really interesting. I was doing some research about work versus play, and they did some studies. I think it was back in the 1980s with a group of kids, and they had some different groups, and they had one thing they were teaching the kids, and they had a group that learned the old-fashioned way in the classroom with the teacher up front and all this stuff. And then they had another group that learned through play, and they designed this whole play experience to teach them this thing. Well, it turned out it took the group with the traditional work approach 30 times longer to learn than the play people. So it turns out when you're willing to play at what you do, and I mean, you're playing hard, right? You're really focused and dedicated and putting in the time and the effort, but it feels like a joyous celebration of who you are being, right? That's so different from the grind that we typically think of when we think of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's another real benefit too, is the level of care is different. So you can see behind me, there's a lot of like art supplies and stuff. I have zero training in how to draw, how to paint, how to do anything really artistic. However, I've been able to create a lot of awesome stuff. And the reason why I believe, and I don't mean this to pat myself on the back, but there's a point to this. When I do these things, I am generally making something for somebody that I care about. So for me, if I'm going to make a little model, here's this little model of Stitch that I'm making for my daughter.
Aww.
So when I'm painting this, I'm not relying on years of experience painting. I'm relying on the fact that, hey, this thing that I'm making, I'm going to give to someone that I genuinely care about. So for me, when I'm doing it, I operate differently because I have a lot of care and intentionality being put into it because I know where it's going. And I think that that's the thing that, to relate this back to what you were just talking about there, there's a very big difference between the people who show up to work and check the box and do their 9 to 5 versus the people who genuinely care about the thing that they're doing. They put that intentionality, they put that care into it. When I'm doing that, time doesn't exist. I'm having fun. It's not stressful. I'm able to do things that I didn't think I could even possibly do because I'm just doing them out of love. And again, to get to your point there, that's, I think, a tremendous difference between work and play, or the freedom to just live your life where the difference between work and play is indistinguishable. I don't know, to be honest with you, if right now us having this conversation qualifies as me working or just two people who care about life hanging out.
Yeah,
and
I think we're playing right now, Jim. I really do.
Yeah, but I mean, that's freedom for me. That's abundance.
I love that. And what I hear between the lines that you haven't explicitly stated is purpose. Really connecting that inner purpose to what you're doing in the physical world. Yeah, love it. Now, you work with hundreds of different people, and you've had incredible success with your clients. Obviously, there's a place where people get stuck. What do you notice people tend to get tripped up over?
I think the biggest thing is not knowing who they are. So if I had to peg it to one specific tipping point, I would say having a clear understanding of who your authentic self is and operating in that space. So, like, pick any of the businesses that I operate in on the daily. If you look at the people who work in the business or the clients the businesses work with, for the most part, the struggles come from one of the people operating outside that space. So they are either seeking external validation, they are frustrated because something is happening outside of their direct control. Ultimately, what most of it boils back down to is they themselves do not have a clear understanding of who God designed them to be and operate within that. So again, if I could wave a magic wand and give anyone one magic ability, it would be for them to understand who they are authentically and live that life.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. And it's so great because you get to figure that out. I mean, that's a lot of this. I call it the abundance journey because your life is literally a journey of abundance. It's continually unfolding. And you get to discover through trial and error the things that you love to do, that light you up, that make a difference, and how to roll with it. Anytime you experience resistance, that's just a sign that you don't have a perspective on it that really is serving you right now. So when you can get a different vantage point, how am I learning from this? How can I grow from this? What new skills might be useful? Who could I reach out to that can give me some insights? Is there another approach I can take? There's all kinds of questions we can ask ourselves that allow us to get through that resistance and see it as actually a guidance. That's really what's going on here. And
Right.
I loved what you had to say about people getting trapped in external reference, because one of the things I've noticed every time I want my world to change, my external world to shift, I have to make an internal shift first. I have to think about things differently or approach life differently. What have you noticed people have to be willing to change inside before they get that external transformation?
I think the biggest thing is the discomfort of accepting themselves for who they are currently. So most people will avoid that because in order for them to have that transformative process, they have to accept where they are right now. And that's uncomfortable for a lot of people to accept, hey, this is where I am currently, and not think, hey, it's a life sentence where I'm going to be stuck here, but it's just where I'm at right now. And it's going to change in 5 minutes, in 15 minutes, in 5 days, in 5 years. But if I am not willing to be clear with myself on where I am at right now, I can't possibly progress. It's like the person who has a toothache and their tooth really hurts. But if they don't go to the dentist, then the dentist can't tell them that they need a root canal. So the problem doesn't really exist because they refuse to go and kind of hear the prognosis. And if they don't hear it, it's almost not real. It's the same thing that a lot of people face in their own life is, hey, if I'm not, if I don't have to hear where I'm at right now, or if I don't have to listen to the fact that this or that is my current scenario, then it doesn't exist. And I can escape that reality and just go out there and rinse and repeat my day until eventually I die. But yeah, I would say that's it.
Wow, that is a biggie, because we do tend to ignore and deny our reality in order to feel a little bit better about ourselves. If there's nothing wrong, I don't have to fix it. And the
Right.
other thing that I find is really true, and I personally experienced this, is being willing to be seen for exactly who you are, your authentic self. It's funny, I am very out there and I use silly voices and I tell stories all the time. And I used to think that was a bad thing, right? I need to be much more buttoned up and serious and, get to the point and all of that. No, I connect with people better when I'm willing to be my true self. I mean, I don't appeal to everybody. That's okay. The right people, the people who can hear the message, are entranced by who you truly are. So being your real authentic self is the biggest gift you can give the rest of the world.
Yeah. And yourself.
Yes, and yourself. And yourself.
I think
That's why
there's
you're here.
a tremendous amount of freedom that comes into your life when you realize that the opinions of other people don't necessarily matter. And those people are going to have opinions on you no matter what you're doing. Whether you're doing something outwardly harmful to them or outwardly helpful to them, people are going to criticize you no matter what. So once you release that, right, their judgment of you does not define you. Once you get rid of that from your life, it gives you so much more freedom to just operate as you are. Because, hey, if you don't like me for me, it doesn't matter to me. I'm okay with it. At the end of the day, I did the thing that was integrous to me. And listen, if you don't like me for it, okay, no problem, right? I have to live with me. Nobody else does. So for me, it's about doing what's honorable and integrous no matter what. And at the end of the day, if people don't like it for whatever reason, listen, man, I'm sorry. The intentions were pure. And if that rubs you the wrong way, we can talk about it. But if you're going to cast judgment on me, I don't have to receive it.
Yeah, very true. I love that. And it's so interesting. I love Marissa Peer. She's an amazing therapist. And she says there's one person that you just wish would see you and your truth. You just wish they would love you exactly as you are. You would give everything if this one person would look in your eyes with love. And that one person is you.
Mm.
when you don't look at yourself with love and with respect and appreciate the courage and commitment it takes to be you fully, authentically, no matter what, then you're the one missing out. And only you can do this for you. You will deny compliments from other people. You will disclaim and ignore all of that stuff because you don't believe it for yourself. You're not willing to give it to yourself. You have to give it to yourself first before you can receive it from anybody else.
Yeah. I love to say most people will waste their life staring in the mirror, waiting for their reflection to smile first.
I love that. Yes. Yes. It's so true. It's so true. You get to smile first. And it's funny, I've started doing this thing that it really works for me. I usually tell people before I do it, I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed. And every time I do that with energy, with enthusiasm, with passion, I really feel that in my body. And I'm putting that into the mirror of the universe, allowing it to reflect back to me. So there's even more for me to be happy about, more to be grateful for, and more blessings than I could ever imagine. It's just an ongoing thing. Now, obviously, Jim, there's a lot to working with somebody, especially with your digital agency, helping somebody grow an entire business. Given that you don't know where we are right now, but what would be one or two little baby steps that we could consider taking that would get us going in the right direction?
Definitely, I would start with your authentic self first. I find that better people build better businesses. And in a lot of cases, the businesses are just an outward projection of the work that we have not done yet ourselves. So if we look at the business and the business is struggling in an area, you can almost always tie it directly back to the business owner or the CEO or the founder who is ever operating the business has some issue that is yet unresolved. And for the most part, I think when those people feel seen, heard, loved, and appreciated for who they are, when they operate as their authentic self, they're able to operate the business in a much more authentic way, and everything just flows. So I would certainly start with the authenticity part first. Above and beyond that, I would say communication. Communication is such an important part of not only our interpersonal relationships, but our business relationships, because they're all really people to people, right? So no matter whether it's us to ourselves, us to our spouse, to our kids, to our team members, the ability to properly communicate and communicate effectively is tremendously important. And it's a thing that most people don't put intentionality behind, right? There are a number of important parts specifically, very important parts of communication. Most people just consider one. Most people think communication is what I said to you. Okay? Communication is actually what is said, what is meant, what is heard, and what is understood. Okay, and if you'll notice, two of them are on me, two of them are on you. Okay, so while I may not be responsible for how you interpret what I say to you, I do bear some responsibility to understand if you are receiving it as I am sending it. Because if you're not, that's a problem, right? And that's where these issues come up, is we just say, well, I said this, or I meant to say. If you interpret it wrong, or you hear it wrong, right? It might not be my fault, but who cares whose fault something is? Fault doesn't change the status of where we're at. I don't care whose fault it is. I don't care who to blame. But if we can't put, again, that honor and integrity and communication and own the entire process ourselves, we cannot communicate effectively and we can't grow.
I love that. That is so powerful. I absolutely, I'm speechless. I want more. In fact, you very generously offered an incredible free gift. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
I don't honestly remember what my free gift was, to be honest with you. But I'll tell you what, I am typically a very open-handed person. Hey, if I have it, you're welcome to it as well. So
you do have a free gift. It's called No Half Cakes. It's your show. And
That's
it
true.
is a gift. I tell you what, I was so privileged I got to be on Jim's show, and it's amazing. It's so good. He interviews fabulous people. They really get into all kinds of details about business, about life. It's transformational, and I highly recommend you check it out. So sorry, but yeah, you do have a free
Yeah.
gift, and I
No
love
worries at all.
that.
But I'll tell you what, level that one up one more, because to me, that doesn't feel like a gift. A gift should be personal and intentional. So while yes, I am the reason why I do that podcast in the first place is to speak to my prior self, right? To speak to someone who is still stuck in that frame of mind, who just needs the nudge to say, hey, let's look at life from a little bit of a different perspective, so that that person can hopefully not miss 6 years of their kid's life or not end up on the brink of divorce or whatever that is. To me, my free gift to someone listening right now would be reach out. If you have a question, ask me directly. I make myself as available as humanly possible. I will respond to you. I'm more than willing to speak to anyone who's in that spot who just needs a shoulder to lean on. Because for me, one of the main reasons why I was able to make the progress I did in the time I did was having someone like that to lean on myself. So now for me, I feel a certain responsibility to be that person for somebody else. And I love the opportunity to sit and to talk and to allow that person to, again, feel loved, seen, heard, and appreciated. I feel like if we could just do that for each other, the progress that we can make would be
incredible.
Crazy, yeah.
Exponential. Yes. God, Jim, I love chatting with you. And one of the things I always do here at the Abundance Journey, we turn the tables on our guests, because we know that when we give is when we truly receive the most. So what is something that we can do to support you?
I would ask that you share my message, either through my podcast directly or through this episode right now, with one person who needs to hear it. I'd ask that you do a random act of kindness. Could be holding the door for somebody, pay for the person behind you in line at a drive-through. Could be big, could be small, could be free, could be expensive. Do whatever it takes. When you feel the nudge that, hey, maybe you should do something, listen to it. There's a lot of times in your life where you're going to get that little nudge. Call it Holy Spirit, call it intuition, call it whatever you want to call it. But there's a lot of times, if you shut up and listen to that little voice in your head that says, hey, you should do that, just do it. Do it one time. Let me know how you feel. Because when you start to do that and you start to listen and tune into that voice becomes louder and more frequent. And the blessings and abundance in your life will amplify beyond exponentially. But it requires you to listen in and to take a little bit of action.
All right, Jim, you didn't have anything else to do today, right? I can just keep you all day and keep talking.
Yeah, let's do it.
Unfortunately, I can't, and I would. I'm going to have you back again and again and again. This was so good. But you've given me a little bit of a problem. I think I got 4 pages of notes from all the wonderful things you shared with us. And I have to pick just one to do the Activate Abundance segment around. So you're making my life a little difficult in a great way.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Oh, man, what a blessing. All right, stick around. We're going to activate abundance in just a moment. Hi, it's Elaine, Starling, the Abundance Ambassador. And I know since you're listening to this show or watching this show, The Abundance Journey, you really want to experience more abundance in your life. Well, that's why I wrote the book, 5 Steps to Activate Your Abundance. It's available for sale right now from Amazon, from barnesandnoble.com, and many international sellers. And I want you to pick up a copy because I'm really opening the kimono here and sharing all of the information you need to experience abundance in every single aspect of your life. The book's divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is called Meeting the Divine. This is where I share my near-death experience and the conversation I got to have with our higher power during my stroke. In Part 2, Messages from the Divine, I share the best practices that I was given, the secret sauce in how life actually works. And so you understand really why you're here and how you can make the most of your life so you love every single moment. And then in the part 3 is partnering with the divine. That's where I go into each of the 5 steps to activate your abundance and explain exactly why it works so well. So take a moment to pick up a copy. It's available as an ebook, a paperback book, an audiobook, and a video course. So however you like to absorb information, abundance is waiting for you. Man, Jim just blows me away. I have been so blessed to have an opportunity to chat with him before, and he rocks my world every single time. He just opens my thinking, and the way he describes things is so compelling and engaging. Ah, man, step 1 to activate abundance is always gratitude. Gratitude is the ignition switch to higher consciousness. Gratitude is the acorn of your abundance tree. When you get into gratitude and you show up with grateful curiosity, that's when you're wide open to receive all the blessings that are coming through the conversation. And I got 4 pages of blessings from Jim. Amazing, amazing. So gratitude. Step 2 is to acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you, that just really stood out for you, that you want to remember. Jim said, better people build better businesses. That your business is a projection of who you are. So if there's something wrong in your business, it's time to go inside and look inside at where's the disconnect. Where are you falling down yourself? Because that, when you get into alignment, everything starts to open up. That was really profound to me. So step 1 is gratitude. Step 2, acknowledge something you heard that was an aha. Step 3, appreciate the difference it can make in your life. Well, your business is a projection of who you are, right? And you get to feel more fulfilled, more whole, more in alignment with your purpose by living your skills and gifts and sharing them with others to make a difference. That's when you truly feel that sense of freedom because you're getting to be your authentic self. Well, I appreciate the idea that I can look at my business and I can see opportunities to grow within. I don't have to look at the mirror and go, well, that needs to fix itself and then all will be well. There's a disconnect going on and understanding that it's not that it's a bad thing. It's that we are perpetually growing. Life is truly the ultimate infomercial. But wait, there's more. There's more growth. There's more abundance. There's more joy. You're never running out. All right, step 1, gratitude. Step 2, acknowledge something that was an aha for you. Step 3, appreciate the difference it can make in your life. Step 4, activate it. I found 3 different ways that take a concept and make it physically, tangibly real. The first one is schedule time to get it done. Well, this is kind of an ongoing thing. So I also count journaling and meditation and sitting for guidance in scheduling time, because if you don't, you won't do it. So make it a priority. I find it's really important. These things, these ideas, these thoughts, these frustrations are flowing through my head. And it's only when I write them down that I can get that objective perspective and really see the guidance that's there for me. So when I'm struggling in my business and I write down what's going on and where the problem seems to be, I can get a better handle on how I can become a better person such that that issue disappears. So definitely schedule time to get it done. Step 2, the second way to activate abundance is to create a physical trigger, like crossing your fingers or tugging on your earlobe as a way to remind yourself, look, everything that I'm doing is a projection of who I am being. So who do I want to be in this meeting? Who do I want to be on this call? Who do I want to be in this interview? And it's truly about being able to serve at the highest level. So I will cross my fingers or tug on my earlobe. I really like tugging on my earlobe. You give yourself a little massage at the same time. It works like a charm. The third way to activate abundance is to work with what I call an abundance buddy. It's it's also an accountability buddy, somebody who really gets you and knows you. And they are going to call you on your stuff with your permission every time you go out of alignment with what you said you were going to do. So I said I was going to show up with intention, with purpose to serve and make a difference for others. And when I trip and fall and I make it all about me and my irritation and my frustration, I'm not serving. And I want my abundance buddy to call me on it so that I can stay in alignment. It's not about never going out of alignment. We are weebles. We wobble, but we don't fall down. We're supposed to go out of alignment so we can notice when we're out of alignment and fix it, come back into alignment. That continual improvement in ourselves is reflected in our business. So not only do we win, all of our clients, all of our partners, all of the participants, everyone influenced or impacted by what you do benefits. You're that important. Step 5, celebrate your progress. This is an incredible game that you're playing. Learning how to be your best, real, authentic self and beautifully, lovingly, joyfully sharing that with others. That is true freedom. That is the ultimate abundance. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time for The Abundance Journey.
You've been listening to The Abundance Journey Show with Elaine Starling. Visit theabundancejourney.com/podcast gifts to access today's gift, as well as gifts from our other guests. Tune in every week to activate abundance in your life and business. If something resonated with you, please share it with your friends so they can benefit too. Keep activating abundance, and we'll see you in the next episode.